Welcome back to First Take. Despite the Texans' dominant win against the Steelers, C.J. Stroud struggled Monday night. Stroud had 5 fumbles, recovered 3 of them. That tied the record for the most fumbles and fumble recoveries in a playoff game in NFL history. Bless you, Jeff Saturday. Is C.J. Stroud in the way of the Texans winning a Super Bowl? What do you think?
No, he's not in the way because C.J. Stroud's turnovers haven't seemed to affect the Houston Texans in terms of their outcome, right? Like the Texans are 3-0 when C.J. Stroud turns it over 3 times or more.
Insanity.
Yeah, the Houston Texans defense this year, the fewest opponent points off of turnovers this season. They've only allowed 29 points off of the giveaways that the Houston Texans offense has had. And conversely, the Texans offense is 4th when it comes to points off of turnovers. So sudden change, when their defense has to make a stop, they get it. Sudden change, when their offense gets a short field, they cash in. That's a formula for success. And the Houston Texans' ability to now to be able to run the football with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, that recent development is why I'm bullish on them. If you got a team that can capitalize on takeaways, if you got an offense that can run the football, and you got a defense that can knock the other team's quarterback down, you're going to have a lot of success in this league, especially in the playoffs when football changes. So, no, C.J. Stroud is not an impediment to the Houston Texans getting to where they want to go.
He is if he continues to play the way he looked last night. That's all. You can't be losing the ball 5 times. You can't have 3 turnovers if you got to go to Foxborough. Right. You got to go to Mile High Stadium. You can't do it. You do that, it's going to cost you. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I know this defense is legit. We know that the offense has been suspect. They can't seem to get any chemistry, any continuity, the whole bit. We understand that. But CJ can ball because we've seen him ball, and we know what he can do. He has to do it. If the Houston Texans are going to win the Super Bowl, they're going to get to the Super Bowl, they're going to win the Super Bowl, he has to do that. He can't play the way that he played last night and think that that's going to be you're going to hold New England or Denver or somebody to 3 points and 37 yards on 3 different turnovers possessions. That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, and I would say when you're talking about winning, the question about winning the Super Bowl, now you put in the NFC and the defense, whether you got to go play the Seahawks, potentially the Rams, 49ers, Chicago, whatever it is. You can only have so much at that position, so many mistakes at that position before it bites you. And I think where they are now, and I fully agree, even last night, on the 3 turnovers, they give up 3 points. And on one of the possessions, the Steelers had the ball 7 plays for 4 yards. It's insane how good that defense is. I agree. But it's not like we were writing home about the Steelers' offense to begin with. So if you have teams that can push the ball down the field and make you pay for those things, I thought, to Stephen A's point last night, that was sloppy football. And I know one of them, he's not even looking. I don't know if that's on the center or if there's whatever.
Oh, it was off the snap, was off to the left. Yeah, he's got to corral that.
There are different moments that you just said, that's just sloppy ball. And in the playoffs, that typically doesn't win. And so I would say to Stephen A's point, if it plays that poorly, I don't think he will play that poorly, but if he had another performance like that, I don't think they get out of the next opponents they play. I don't think they win against the Patriots like that. So I think that you need to play clean football. DeMeco Ryans knows that. Stroud knows that. He just hasn't done it. Last night was a bad day. It's just bottom line.
And you can't have those in the playoffs. It's one and done, and you don't want it to be him.
It's his 3rd year in the league. He's only had 3 those types of games.
I agree.
He's only had 3, so there's once a year that happens.
Yeah, it was just a bad night.
Yeah, it's a bad night.
So he's got to correct it because they'll play the Pats on Sunday, on ESPN and ABC. Coming up here on First Take.
Houston Texans deserve a ton of credit. DeMeco Ryans, C.J. Stroud, insanely underrated. They've won a playoff game in each of their first 3 years. We never seem to talk about it. And guess what? We're now going to not talk about it because we're going to save that for later in the week. That's when they get their praise as we look ahead to the next game. Because last night was the end of an era, potentially. Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers lose, and Tomlin now has 1 year remaining on his contract. Tomlin and the Steelers have lost 7 straight playoff games. That is the longest playoff losing streak for any coach since Marvin Lewis had that for the Bengals years ago. And 29 different NFL coaches have won playoff games since Mike Tomlin won his last playoff game. I am a huge Mike Tomlin fan. I believe they should figure out a way of continuing this thing. And I believe that you should actually lean into, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, what is his biggest strength. And I believe that is making something out of nothing. Mike Tomlin is too good for them to get bad enough to be great enough. You're never going to be in a Chicago Bears situation where you're going to have the number 1 pick in the draft. You can get Caleb Williams, and then Ben Johnson comes running as the hottest candidate out there saying, I have to coach that guy. Or even New England, when Belichick goes, and even at the end, I mean, it was Belichick's season that caused them to get Drake May. And then Mike Vrabel says, I got to coach that guy. People could say, oh, Mike Vrabel came back because he played there. Mike Vrabel did not come back to New England because he played there. Mike Vrabel came back because of that guy playing quarterback. We know that. So the Steelers with Mike Tomlin are never going to be able to put themselves in that position because Mike Tomlin is too good for them to get bad enough to get great enough. But what they should do is lean into the something out of nothing. And they should really make this nothing. Nobody on their roster of the age of 25 or above. They should rip the whole thing apart. No veteran quarterback. No TJ Watt, trade him away. Cam Hayward, all of the guys that may have value somewhere else, trade them away and lean into having nothing. Will Howard, your turn, and draft a quarterback in the draft. Take advantage of the fact that an overachieving year in the regular season, which is what Mike Tomlin has every year, the overachievement in the regular season, with that roster that I just created, gets you to 5 wins. He does the same thing, Smalls. He instills the culture. He instills the mentality. He overachieves in the regular season, but you finally get a pick, and it's a young roster filled with draft picks in the future. That is what I think they should turn to, and not Kyler Murray, and not Tua, or if Baker becomes available. None of those guys. Be bad on purpose.
Okay, a couple things here. One, does the fan base have the appetite for that? Because to be bad on purpose, you have to be patient. And as an organization, you have to be able to compartmentalize and block out all the noise. You have to make sure that it doesn't matter what is written about you, what is said about you, what the fan base is tweeting about you. If they don't buy tickets, you have to say, we are going to weather this storm, however long it takes, because we believe in the vision. We believe in the rebuild. Do they have the appetite for that in Pittsburgh? A place where you're used to being relevant and you're used to competing, at least for the playoffs. That's number one. Number two, you're assuming that he is the right voice and the right coach to have a young quarterback come in and to build him up. John Harbaugh just got fired from the Ravens for not having enough playoff success. Think about the way that the Ravens have been pushed out the past couple of years. We're talking about drops. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers. We're talking about missed kicks. They've been competitive, and they've been right there in some of these moments. The Steelers are not right there, Ev. Their last 5 playoff losses have all come by double digits. They weren't in that game last night. They're the first team in NFL history to lose 5 straight playoff games by double digits. Last night, that defense was amazing, but CJ Stroud wasn't anything to write home about.
No, he was terrible.
And they didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
They are I will repeat, the first team in NFL history to lose 5 straight playoff games by double digits. If you're going to go the tank route, you always talk about having everyone on the same timeline. Are you ready to commit to Mike Tomlin being that person for however long it takes? I know you would, but does the organization want to do that? You need to make sure if you're going to go down that route that you're also having the stability in place to not have to do this every year, where we're wondering about the hot seat, where we're wondering about what the next churn is going to be. You need to be patient, and I don't know if they're there with him right now.
So let's hear from Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, it could be his final game last night.
Or it could not.
Yeah, we don't know. Here is Rodgers on his feelings towards